Welcome back to the 5 chapter rule. This is episode 2 of season 2. This episode will be covering Kurosagi, the Black Swindler. This is a psychological mystery kind of drama centered around swindles. It's actually got multiple live action adaptations in Japan, both well acclaimed, and including some movies.
Yeah, it's
Unfortunately,
based on hyper realism as well. It's really realistic.
Unfortunately, there's no official English translation for either this series, its sequel, or sequel after that. They're only available in Japanese and Taiwan, unfortunately. So you have to use a fan dub. But thankfully, there was someone who fan translated this to English who actually did a lot of research. So it's actually quite a good translation. So the brief story summary of this series is white swindlers, Kurosagi, are those who cheat people to take their money. Red swindlers, Akisage, are those who swindle the opposite sex, and black swindlers, Kurosagi, are those who swindle the white and red swindlers. After his family is swindled by white swindlers, Kurosagi sets out to avenge them by becoming a black swindler. Um, the plot of this series has a bit of a monster of the day vibe.
It's episodic, yeah.
Yeah, you have like the first 3 chapters, the first 2 chapters of this swindle, the next 2 chapters of this swindle, next few after that are this swindle, etc., etc. But they do have an overarching storyline running through the all different types of swindles.
Yeah, you can see why it'd make decent TV episodes.
Yeah, the overall running arc is about revenge and trying to evade the cops, essentially. This series is incredibly detailed and complicated. The author must have done some serious research for this manga. It is really impressive the amount of level of depth it goes into for around how the law works, how the financial bits work, to figure out, I guess, swindles around them and how to do stuff that's actually quite clever. I do like the fact that early on, this manga establishes a pretty solid reason for the protagonist to do what he does, and it's a very realistic one at that, which I greatly appreciate. So the plot starts off, I guess, a little slow, gives you a bit of the introduction to the character, how his personality and how he goes about his things, but very quickly we do see the backstory, and I guess I might as well say this because I won't go into too much details about this plot because I think it's worth people reading, but it makes it very clear early on that when Kuro's family was swindled, they were swindled so badly that I think it was also ruined the father's company and whatnot, and it brought so much shame and despair that the guy's father committed murder suicide and killed the entire family, although Kuro survived. And he is trying to find the one who destroyed his family. And while he's at it, he's taken out all the other swindlers who are doing basically the same thing what was done to his father. So he's a bit of like a anti-hero, I guess. But about going on to the characters, what do you think of the plot of this one?
Well, it's I'll describe it oddly, okay? It's like the TV show House, where there's cases, and in between the cases is where the plot happens.
Yeah.
So you won't figure out much about the main character, you'll figure out more why he does the things and how he does them during the case. But then during the beginning bit where he gets the case and the ending bit where he's not consoling the victim, but getting the victim back what they needed. Just in between that and the next case is where it explains a lot of the actual plot parts.
Yeah, his interactions
So
with.
in the first 5 chapters, for example, there'll only be maybe one, not even one, maybe half to one chapter of actual plot development with the character itself.
But it's actually quite a good amount, though, in many ways. It does a good job of it, I think.
So the first one it has a lots of. The main development is. It doesn't say much about himself, but you get the bit of context as to why he's doing the things. Like in episode 1, he understands immediately that the lady has thought about suicide before.
Well, she's quite clearly trying to take her life
But
out.
the first thing he says to her is, "Oh, this is your second time, right?" So he gets the gist of he can see it because he's lived it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go into that yet. But then he does technically push her in front of the train, but she falls and he pushes her out of the way to the other side. And then she realizes she didn't actually want to do that, and that sort of thing. And then the main plot bits we get is from the informant guy, explaining more of his story from the informant guy's perspective, not from the main character's perspective. The first arc is finance company fraud. Then, 3 and 4 is cosmetics fraud. And then 5, which is the last one we did, is the beginning of the next arc.
I'll point out one quick thing, though. He didn't actually push her in front of the train. She actually falls.
Yeah, I did say that, yeah. She falls in front, but he pushes her...
out of the way. It sounded like he said that he pushed her and then pushed her again.
No, she fell and then he pushed her hard enough to go to the other side of the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
That's the main plot bits. Not a lot happens apart from the swindles themselves. And those are the kind of mystery things you don't want to spoil as to how they do them.
But at the same time, I think the amount of development we do get for the main guy is actually quite good for the first 5 chapters. Compared to quite a few of the other series we've covered, he's probably had more character development than majority of the protagonists in the other series we've read for this YouTube series. So that's an interesting point. Anything else you want to say about the plot before we move on to the characters?
Now, the plot is more things you don't want to spoil, and it's episodic based. So even if we did, we could only state the finance company one and the cosmetics one, and I don't know enough about that to go into it.
Yeah, about how legit it is. From what I gather, it's actually quite well researched from what I've looked into.
It certainly seems that way.
Because I read this before a long time ago, but because the translations were so slow, because the translator had to do so much research, probably why this doesn't have official English adaptation. Unfortunately, I stopped reading this for a long time, and obviously come back for this YouTube series. And I remember back in the day, people did actually look at how legit it was, and actually apparently quite a lot of this was, at least at the time of this series, which is early 2000s, quite realistic when it came to the financial parts.
You can you can tell.
Swindles.
You can tell it's realistic and grounded in reality enough that what happens is perfectly plausible to happen.
Yeah. Someone told me that the author had been swindled before, and someone helped him with that. So I don't know how true that is, but that's what I got told. That's where the inspiration of this series came from. Again, this is what I was told, so you never know these kind of things. So I might as well move on to the category of characters, which we're going to have a few for this. Um, so our protagonist, Kurosaki, rather than the series is Kurosagi, but he's Kurosaki. Um, he's generally a nice guy who does selfless acts, but kind of likes to pretend that he's doing it for selfish reasons. Major Sundazeri vibes
It
there,
seems to be
kind
more
of.
like he's trying to protect himself, because if people realize he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart, then he'll be exploited, and he don't want that.
Yeah, and I think he doesn't see himself as a hero. He doesn't. That's a major thing that I see is he doesn't. He knows that he's doing wrong things for the right reasons, but so because I didn't see himself too highly. I mean, he gets. It's interesting because he gets information off the victims, gets their money back, and tells them that this is like a purely business transaction for the information, and the cost just happens to be the same as what was taken from him. I get the feeling that he's doing this to try and make sure that the police can't arrest them as an accessory to the crime if they ever catch him. You know, it's like a kind of like trying to loophole, trying to like an additional way of him trying to protect him. But he doesn't state that. But that's what the feeling I get is. He like as I mentioned, he doesn't want to be seen as a hero because he is doing this as a form of revenge. Um, he's doing the right thing, but for the wrong reasons, I guess. I guess another far point is the protagonist is a very talented actor, which he uses to trick the targets.
He
I
does come
do,
off kind of goofy in the first bit where he's first introduced, but then when he starts talking to her, he gets really serious, and she realizes that he's not.
yeah. I think the goofy. I think he's very good at looking at identifying what personalities. 'Cause everyone is will let their guard down against certain personalities. Some people, if you want to get them to go a certain way, you better to go harder against them. Sometimes it's better to be softer. Sometimes it's pretend you're innocent. So I think he thought the goofy thing would be good for her because he's trying to get her out of awful mental state. So he's being light-hearted, but when it came to now the serious thing, he's being serious. Um, very, I guess, quite the guy is quite knowledgeable about people's mental states, I guess. I really do like this protagonist. Um, it's definitely a more complex one than you get in in
It does
shall we
feel like
say
he's
shonen.
more of the protagonist who be resonate more with people the more it goes on.
Yes. Uh, anything else you want to say about protagonist before moving to the next character?
Not really. He's just not a lot stated about him in the first bit for me to mention, really.
Other than what was already mentioned, yeah.
Yeah.
So we next guy we don't know his official name. Really, I don't think. He's the fixer, and as name suggests, he provides information, contacts, and other stuff necessary for our swindlers to do their job. Although it does
Yeah, he's
seem,
the info vendor.
yeah, they're called fixers.
Yeah.
But yeah, although it seems counterproductive for him to help Kurosaki take down those swindlers, as this would leave him with less customers. So I initially wondered if Kurosaki had something over him. Although we do find out in chapter 2 that the fixer gave a swindler the information on Kurosaki's father, which led to the whole suicide thing. Regardless of this, the fixer. So yeah, so it's funny because like they still work together, probably because he may eventually come for the fixer later on. Maybe the feeling we get in this, maybe, and maybe he's just using him for now. Maybe the fixer feels a bit of remorse for the fact that the family got killed. I don't know.
No, I
But
don't. I think it seems that way to me. I think he's just in it for the money, and he'll betray him
yeah,
whenever he wants.
And maybe he realized he'd rather have weaker uh swindlers taken out. I don't
People
know.
who are giving the job a bad name.
I'm not sure about that, but I don't think he's honourable. I
No, but
mean,
it's like if they're
regardless,
doing it bad, then it puts more like more police watch on other people. So they kind of don't
yeah.
want them to suck, basically.
But we do see that one of the people Kurosaki takes down ends up linking back to the fix, and the police do visit him. So there is an extra motive to why he helps Kurosaki, which we probably will find out later on. But he is a bit of a tight ass when it comes to how much money he's willing to give Kuro when he completes his tasks. Like, no, you're getting a small percentage.
Well, he only
Um,
meets the main lady for the first time when she steps on one of his coins that he dropped.
oh, we're talking about different characters
Yeah,
now.
no,
So
but yeah, he is they're both tight asses. That's the point. All the swindlers in this are all tight asses.
true. I mean, that's part of the game, I guess.
But
Um,
it's
we
like, was he
also,
always like that, or did he learn it from the fixer guy?
I don't know. I
No.
mean, the fixer does also act like a mob boss. I mean, when like he sends his thugs in right when he collects some money. There's a proper like Godfather kind of like character. So it'll be interesting how much he gets developed later on. They made one of these where he's the ally for now, but eventually will be the enemy. We'll see. Uh, so after the fixer, we have I'm gonna pronounce this name so wrong. Uh, Sunar
Sorara.
Nari Nara. Um, is a very friendly like law student who is actually quite intelligent when it comes to the scams. She would like to take down the scammers like Kuro, but unlike him, she wants to do it like the legal way through the courts and everything. So basically, she's very much supposed to be the other side of the coin, I guess, to Kuro. Um, she also has a bit of fight in her. I wasn't expecting her to just proper slap the main guy. Uh, it's obvious that they're setting her up to be a recurring character throughout the series. Uh, maybe even the love interest. Never know. That'd been interesting. But she seems quite. I do like that character, but we don't get too much of her at this point.
It is kind of set up in the way that you know she's going to be back.
Yeah, too much development on her. It's a bit like when you play a video game and you see a character model and you go, "Yeah, that character model. They've put too much effort in that." Um, So they're going to come back. But that character's model is a bit basic. They're going to die. Is a bit like that kind of aspect to me. You can tell which ones. If you're going to spend that much time on them, you're going to make them appear more than once.
Well, you'd certainly hope
Um,
so.
yeah. I guess then we've got two inspectors. So we got Inspector Ashina, who is new to the police division, investigating swindlers. He is very self confident and determined to catch the criminals. Although we do see that he can be very bullheaded about this. Um, Already the inspector's pretty sure Kuro has been swindling other swindlers,
Yeah, he basically went
and
into the fixer's area and tried to start a fight with him.
yeah, which is not great. He's proper old school inspector, I guess, is the kind of image that they're giving him, even though he's not old. Uh, yeah. Although he knows I think like I said, both inspectors believe Kuro is the guy swindling the swindlers, but Kashina doesn't want to make any exceptions for him. For him, it's a criminal's a criminal, no matter what the motive is or the morals behind it. If you're breaking the law, you're going down the same, I guess. So I'm gonna guess that he's gonna be one of the antagonists, I guess, of this series. Um, gonna be like stalking Kuro throughout the series. And even Inspector Momoyama is the veteran detective who's more wiser and more professional. He also knows about Kuro's past and is genuinely concerned about him. And you can tell that he actually doesn't want to arrest him for taking down the swindlers. Um, so I guess here we've got another two sides of the same
It's
coin
like
aspect
it's the
here.
lesser of two evils sort of thing. Like if a
Yeah,
person's getting rid of the evil people, they're slightly more understandable to people, even if they
I
are evil
yeah.
themselves.
He also we do see that he generally like he saw the traumatized kid, so he wants that kid to be protected. You know, as an adult now, he wants to make sure Kuro is able to not follow down the tragedy which held him, kind of thing. But I do like the fact that the protagonist and the female character are the two sides of the same coin, but the two detectives who are going to be clearly recurring also are two sides of the same coin. So we got basically two coins on both sides here, which is quite interesting. Um, so that I think they've got it set up a nice range of returning characters for the first five chapters, and giving us quite a bit of enough detail that we can see where they would play their roles and how well and where they're going to fit in things. So I really liked the development of these characters so far. Far more than what some of the other series we read, where it's just like, yeah, he's a kid in that area. Yeah, that's it. You know, far more better detailed. You got anything else left for the characters?
No, it's pretty. As I said, it doesn't introduce the most yet because it is a mystery. They have to put little bits in each time, and there's only like one chapter's worth of actual development at that time and the characters themselves. But you got your standard, your main character, who is what, chaotic neutral, I suppose.
Oh, we're going down this route.
I
I would say,
just that's just the first thing that came to my head.
I would say that he is chaotic good because he's doing it. He's doing it for the good reasons. He's not neutral.
Yeah, but he also does delve a lot into the back, and you can tell that he does want the revenge himself. Like,
Yeah.
there's that dark bit to him, but then you've got like the standard, your detectives. They're standard in these sorts of shows. There's always a fixer sort of information broker.
Mm. I guess if you want to go down like the kind of like the chaotic neutral kind of aspect kind of things of it. Kurosagi, I would say he's unlawful good. Kurosagi is lawful good. The fixer is lawful bad, maybe. And then I would say Inspector Cashier is
Yeah, because these terms are used in basically all
lawful,
these sort of
lawful
things.
good, but a lawful good with a chaotic stuff. Well, I guess
Yeah,
Moyomomo is like very flexible good.
like you could read any sort of psychological series like this, and all those characters will fit into the same sorts of roles.
Mm. Like I said, I think even with the little bit of development they've gotten, I think they've done a good job with showing enough of their personality and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, they've got a lot done.
Um, if this was the first time I read these first five chapters, I definitely would have been. I wouldn't have just read stopped at five chapters. That's for certain. Um, so we'll get on to the art, I guess. It's this manga's pretty well drawn, to be fair. People are very easily distinguishable,
For also
and the
for when it was written as well. It's got good artwork for when it first came out.
Early 2000s, yeah.
You can tell.
And the faces show emotion very well. The background has a reasonable amount of detail to help convey the scenes. I also like that the artist spent actually some times on the clothes wrinkles. It kind of makes them look more real, gives that sense of realism and reality, which is kind of good for a series like this where it's trying to be realistic. Um, Also, for like some scenes, like Kurosagi delivering the killing blow, we quotes killing blow, just um we get this nice dramatic flair to the art that really adds to the scene.
Oh,
I
the
really
double
like that.
panel where it shows the birds, one attacking the other one.
Yeah,
That's a nice panel.
the let me just up right now. Yeah, the it's the black uh crane
Yeah, because it
killing the
states in
white crane.
I think it's like the first 6 pages, each of the like Kurosagi, Shirosagi, and the Aka one it refers to them as like, different kinds of birds.
Yeah, as mentioned, yeah, the white one, the red one, the black one, yeah. Um, I also liked that, yeah, like I was saying, the killing blow bit, the dramatic flair really adds to the scene, and I really like them. Um, it, it's nice when you got all these panels of realistic, well, realism kind of style, and then suddenly it's dramatic thing, really works. I also liked how some of the intro panels had this like charcoal kind of look to him, where it looks like he's don't use charcoal pastels to uh make the drawing. It's a style you don't normally see these days in manga. I really appreciate it. I don't know whether that's just for the intro. I'm never going to see him again, but I do really like that. I hope we do see them in key bits because it's a nice different. It's different to what you normally see. I do like it. Uh, any other opinions on the artwork?
No, it's pretty standard for the most part. Because well, a lot of the artwork isn't technically there because a lot of it is text. It's a
Yeah,
psychological. There's a lot of text.
I know, but in the art, what's there?
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you
it's pretty
like it or do
nice.
you not? Basically, is what I'm asking you right now.
Yeah, it's pretty nice actually. It's all right. It's good for when it first came out, and it still stands up now. But you can tell that it came out in the 2000s.
Hmm. It's interesting that in manga you can really tell that. I guess it's all the scans as well. All the scanning technology it makes it quite clear, I guess. Um, so onto the design category for our protagonist. It's fairly simplistic. It's a black overcoat with black trousers and trainers. Uh, but it does work quite well for the character, because depending on the context of the scene, it can make him look like a mysterious stranger, a threatening thug, or just an average guy going about his business. So it's just like this chameleon aspect of design works hand in hand with the fact that Kurosaki has to play various roles to combat scanners. So it's where the simplistic design actually properly works with the character rather than just I couldn't think of an outfit. Um,
Well, since it's based in realism as well, a lot of the outfits are just going to be standard.
but I do like the fact that his outfit does work with the whole acting aspect.
Oh yeah,
Like he could play all the different types of roles. Um, the fixer is dressed like an old school teacher, but
he's just
the
he's a barkeep really.
yeah, he looks a bit like an old school teacher, like the Japanese old school teacher outfits you see in quite a lot of the series is. Uh,
A lot of
but
the outfits are going to be suits because there is a lot of Japanese salaryman level.
well, yeah, obviously,
Yeah,
businesses and stuff. But like the fixer's facial expressions and aura is just pure mob boss. I think his design does sell him as a dangerous man who gets what he wants. So I mean that kind of works. So that so Sonari is dressed
Surara.
in, yeah, I can't pronounce names for life. Is dressed in smart casual clothes. She gives off a naive but intelligent aura. Guess what you need. And Inspector Kashina is dressed like an old school detective. The outfit, if anyone in the UK knows this one, the outfit reminds me of a TV series Jack Frost a little bit. Um, but other than that, I don't have much more to say in the character designs.
No, character designs are pretty standard.
Pretty standard,
Like even
but
the
work.
detective
But
is
yeah,
wearing what you would assume a detective would wear. It's pretty
yeah,
standard.
pretty standard, but suits, works. So the question, I guess, then is, would we read more? Well, I've already said that I've read a bit of this before. But obviously, with the no official translation, complexity of the story makes this really hard to get decent translation. Get the translation. It's been a few years since I last read it, so I'll pick it up again. I'm hoping it's now complete on here
I
online.
think it's still classed as ongoing.
Really, is it really? It's been out for so many years, and you can't get a final. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, I don't think it's finished yet. The translation, I think it's stopped because the last update was a year ago. So unless that is the end,
Maybe we'd have to find out by reading it, won't we?
it just says volume 14 end, the last bit.
Well, I'd read more of it, but then it's also the level of certain the other ones we've discussed before, like if it ends on an arc, you won't pick it up again until the next arc finishes. Because I'm not going to stop
Yeah.
reading it mid swindle. But then that also makes it nice and easy to pick up again, because you know sort of where you were and what swindle you ended on.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I guess. I mean, like I said, I'm definitely gonna read this again because I do really enjoy this manga. Good series. It's not often you get ones this kind of style, this kind of one. Generally either don't get finished or they just kind of fall flat. Yeah, apparently I just read there's not online. There's 18 volumes to the original series. So yeah, we've only got 14 translated, which is kind of annoying. Um, it's just a sad shame that a series this good you just can't get a proper translation for, and then only partial ones at that.
Yeah, I've got that with a couple of series that I read that they just won't translate and bring over here.
Yeah, the person doing the really good translation gave up or stopped because it was just a lot of work for free, basically. Shame, but you can get quite far, and also if you can read a bit of it and then watch the TV series, there's a latest adaptation of it was in 22, and it's supposed to be very good. So, um, I guess find what you can. I guess. Um, so, uh, until next time, I guess.
We haven't said what we're reading next yet.
Oh, we haven't. No, we have not. Yes, you're right. Let's pull up the random thing. Sec. Okay, so let's see what our first random manga is. Wanna live by the countryside. That sounds like a romance. And that cover worries me. Ag.
Nope,
I've
we're good
seen
then.
that before. Are you sure it's better than using the wheel? Oh, okay, let's try again anyway. Um, right, let's try again. Um, ah, Hokan Evans no Usa Dead or Love. It's a Western manga. Interesting. Don't see any reason why we can't read this one. So let's, and for our second one, um, we have Today's Burger. Well, that's an exciting title, isn't it? A cooking manga it is then. We got a Western manga, and by Western I mean a cowboy basically, and a cooking manga.
Yeah, an actual cooking manga. Cooking,
Okay,
drama, shonen, and slice of life.
I do not know anything about either of these two mangas in the slightest, so this will be interesting.
At least this is weirdly random. Like we've never done this. So potential romance and a cooking show.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
Okay then. This will be interesting. So, until next time, goodbye.